When I do these reviews, I'm normally looking for pros and cons, and in this speaker's case, I'm kind of struggling with cons. I guess if I was to look for a con, it would be the speaker size, but to me, a substantial bookshelf speaker with a large 8-inch driver is a bit of a pro, so other than that, I'm kind of grasping at straws. My name's Taps, this is 0102 Studio, and this is a review of the Monitor Audio Silver 100 7G speaker. This is the second speaker that I've got to review from Monitor Audio Silver 7G range. The first speaker was the Silver 300, and that was a bit of an endgame speaker in my view. I was completely bowled over by its performance, and were it not for the fact that it just simply wasn't in the cards for me to purchase at the time, I definitely would have, and I kind of regret not keeping them. The Silver 100 is the largest bookshelf in the Silver range. Below it sits the Silver 50, and in the floor standard range, there's the 200, the 300, and the 500. The 500, which I have in for review as well, review coming soon. And there's a center channel, I believe it's called the 250. I don't know why they didn't call it the 400, but maybe there's a 400 speaker coming soon or something. Maybe it's like a 3-way bookshelf, massive loudspeaker. If so, take my money. But yeah, I don't know. The Silver series is the best looking affordable speakers range from Monitor Audio. The Bronze range looks good, but they don't really hold a candle to the Silver range. And the Gold and Platinum series looks even more amazing, but you know, to afford those, you kind of have to remortgage your house. So Silver range if you want the best design for your money. I used to own the Silver RX2 speaker from Monitor Audio, and it was an earlier iteration of the same speaker. It, at the time, was one of the more expensive speakers that I've ever purchased. It was a speaker that I could confidently pair with more expensive gear, so I wouldn't feel like I was doing any of that gear a disservice. I still remember hearing it in the store for the first time. It was paired with a Peachtree integrated amplifier, and I was just blown over by the sound, how deep the bass went, and I knew then and there that I absolutely had to own this speaker. So I was also curious, given that experience, how the new version sounded. The Silver 100 looks quite a bit different than my RX2 speaker. Most notably, on the bass driver, the silver bullet dust cap in the middle is no longer there. It's now a seamless off-white C-cam mid-bass driver. The driver is really light, but is dimpled, making it stronger. The dimples help with velocity. And thanks, Darko, for exploring that on your channel. The tweeter is a C-cam gold dome tweeter that sits behind the uniform dispersion waveguide. The cabinet is much more elegant too. The edges are seamless and there are no markings of bolts or anything on the face of the speaker. They implemented a single bolt from the back system to get everything together. The bass port is also on the back. The speaker finishes are nice too, though I do have a preference. My review sample is in black piano gloss, as you can see there behind me, and having seen all the finishes in person, I would say that my finishes of choice would be satin white or ash. My RX2 came in something similar to the ash color, although it's not as nice in that speaker as it is in the current iteration. I just love the way the waveguide and the surround on the driver contrasts against the ash finish. It just looks exceptional. And that would be the one that I would buy should I ever purchase these speakers for myself, or the Silver 300s. Though I will say in the satin white, they do stand apart because the waveguide and the surround is in white and looks really, really cool. It makes the speaker look quite a bit smaller than it actually is. The only thing that isn't nice is the magnetic grille. Much in the same way for the Silver 300 review, it feels kind of like a throwaway. It's not exactly black. To be honest, given the fact that the tweeter is covered up by a waveguide, I just left the grills in the box. I was fortunate enough to have a few different amplifiers on hand for this review. The Silver 100s were sent over with the Roxanne Atessa amplifier, so naturally I tried it with those amps first, but I also tried them out with the Audiolab 9000A, the Mission 778X, the Cambridge Audio CXA81, along with my old CXA60 and my NAD amplifier. Sources were the Cambridge Audio Alva TT V2 turntable, the CXN V2 streamer, the CXC CD player, I'm a bit of a Cambridge fanboy, and the rest of my DJ gear. The other speakers for comparisons are the ones that you see behind me, the Q Acoustics 3030i, B&W 685s, and the ones that you don't see, the Wharfdale Evo 4.2s that are upstairs in my living room. The sound, it's perfect for me. Seriously, as you can expect, it's a big and large, wide soundstage, and the bass goes down deep into floor standard territory. The driver is pulling double duty, so if you like big, fat, deep bass, like me, you might want to invest in a subwoofer just to kind of alleviate the driver of some of that bass energy. It does kick ass down low, and if space is at a premium, you could totally do without a sub. I did the same, and actually spent most of my review without a subwoofer connected because it did sound that good. And before you go thinking that this review is going to be all about bass, I will say the larger driver and cabinet really helped out in the mid-range. It has the ability to go up in scale, so things like vocals, guitars, and ambience just sound bigger overall, and they have a lot more body. And as you can expect from Monitor Audio speakers, there's a ton of detail on top, and that detail is in the treble. Monitor Audio speakers, I find, come a little bit hot on the treble, so I like to have an amp on hand with tone control so I can kind of adjust that to my liking. Though I will say the Cambridge Audio CXA60, of all of the tone control free amplifiers, that one sounded the best and is more to my liking as far as overall character, I guess. And the Silver 100s really benefit from that added bump in power and scale up nicely with that amplifier. Whenever I get a new speaker in the house, I like to slam as much bass music at them as possible because that's kind of what I listen to on a day-to-day basis anyway. Doc Scott's show, Future Beats, is kind of a big source of music inspiration for me. I like a lot of what he plays, especially in that last hour of the show. It's just like, it's always golden. His latest show that at the time of this recording, there's 2 tracks that really stood out for me, and I'm not going to remember the names of them. They are Digital Self from PA, and I can't even pronounce his name. Cooper Belt from Cutting Edge. The former track is just everything to me. It's like tight drums, heavy bass, really good sound, and I like to slam these through these speakers without a subwoofer connected, and again, it just sounds big, full. It's a great speaker to me. The latter track though, that one's a bit more of a slow build, and it's one of those songs I just kind of like to get lost in, especially with the Cambridge Audio 81. That amplifier with these speakers with that song on, it's just, I could sit alone in a dark room, my eyes closed, and this just like takes me somewhere else. It's an amazing pairing and sounds great. Because of the more lush mid-range in these speakers, I did find myself gravitating towards a lot more of the ambient or mellow, chilled out genres of music. One album in particular, again, I'm going to butcher this name. The album's Due in Color by Andrea or something. This album turned up really loud, sounds amazing with these speakers. And I left it connected to the Cambridge CXA 81 for most of the time once I gave back the other amplifiers. It just seemed like a really great pairing, and I liked having the extra power. And I'm horrible at describing the way things sound, but yeah, just big, expansive soundstage, sounds great. I loved it. Ambient music, Silver 100s, good. Compared to some of the other speakers that I have in-house, I'd start with the ones that you can't see. The Wharfdale Evo 4.2s, those are also really, really big bookshelf speakers. I think they're more stand mount speakers because they look really stupid on a bookshelf. They're really, really big. Comparison to these, they sound bigger. Like, there's no way about it. It's a bigger cabinet. There's more drivers on it. It's a bigger sound altogether. The 100s really aren't a comparison for either of these two speakers. I mean, it's more than double or triple the price. They don't have the same amount of detail up top. They don't have the same amount of bass weight. If you're looking for just overall better refinement and just all things better, Silver 100. But again, if you're gonna pair it with a cheaper amplifier, just go for one of these guys or the Monitor Audio's bronze range. Build-wise, these don't hold a candle to those. Like, it's just in another league. Same with, from what I have seen in showrooms of the bronze range from Monitor Audio, even those speakers don't hold a candle to those. Like, build quality is exceptional. Actually, I like the build of these better than the Wharfdale 4.2s. Like, they just look better. They're better furniture, standout looking pieces, I guess. And if aesthetics matter to you, silver all the way. Now, compared to the silver 300s, that's where this gets a bit interesting. And the silver 300s have two 6-inch drivers and a dedicated mid-range driver, and then the treble. And it's more of a slim floor stander speaker. I would have to say, honestly, between the two, the 300s is still better, even though these have like that floor stander-like sound. Those speakers just have more, I don't know, it's not oomph, it's just like more overall detail and character, and like, I feel like the 300 is the sweet spot of that range. However, I don't know if there's a however there. I guess the big comparison really would be my memory of the Silver RX2s in comparison to this speaker. And it's been maybe like 2 years since I had those speakers, and I had them for like the better part of a decade. These just sound better and tighter and more refined than that speaker did. And the build quality of these speakers kicks the crap out of that speaker. So it's been an overall improvement over previous generations of Silver Series speakers. So yeah, it's great. It's great. Overall, this is a lovely speaker. It looks great, it sounds great, and if you have the space for a large bookshelf speaker, this is one you should definitely audition. Oh, and if you care to, now's a good time to like and subscribe and stuff. You know, the YouTube thing we always ask you to do.